So everything that you see here is going to be available to you, and you can use for the negative shape painting. For the negative shape painting, it's not just plain filling in of your intricate design. And by the way, your intricate design needs to be done lightly, and it needs to be interesting. So even if you just have a plain leaf, why don't you make something out of that and make that plain leafy shape a little bit more interesting for the eye. Okay, so just nothing is really plain. Next thing, the first thing that you're doing is, after you're drawing, you can mask some areas that you don't want paint to go, just like dots and drops, which we cannot go around. So for that, we have a masking fluid. Masking fluid is the first thing that you can use for the drawing. After the drawing, it does not smell good. It smells really awful. So don't put it near your nose. You will use the stick. I can already smell it. You can use the stick, not the brush. If you put the brush in it, it's going to be completely destroyed, because it's kind of that rubbery fluid. It dries out. So use the measuring stick and dip it in this thing, and you can actually share it. And then you can do some tiny, so you're not painting with this, but you can do some tiny lines and mostly dots. After about 5 minutes, or when you see, either 5 minutes and then you wipe off the stick with a paper towel for somebody else. And then you close this, because it is also drying. It's a rubbery fluid. So that is professional masking fluid for your use. You're waiting about 5 minutes, or when you see this dry, it still has this rubbery effect. So even if you touch it, it looks kind of not, but by color you can see that it's dry. After that, you can paint. You can put some, while you are waiting for the masking fluid, you can put some water in your paints, and then they will be melted enough. Then you're painting over this masking fluid, as you usually do. And then when it's dry, now it's gonna be just like in these cooking videos. This is wet paint. I'm not gonna touch anything. But where it's dry, I have it as a dry place. This is dry, and this is masking fluid underneath. By the way, don't try to paint over it when the masking fluid is not dry yet. It's kind of messy. So then you scratch it off like this, and then you have this effect of dots, or like water droplets on the leaf, or things like that. If you have this longer, like a streaky, but you can't really cover too much. So that is masking fluid. And you can see these effects on it, on many of these. So that is number one thing that you can use to actually do the effects. The second one is a wax crayon. This Crayola wax crayon is really, really low quality. I would not recommend anybody to draw with that. And they have very low pigment content and very high wax. But it's good. It's just like a candle. I would rather melt it, and make candles out of that than draw with it. But they are good for the purpose that you don't have to draw everything with a pencil. You can actually do this, and unlike the masking fluid, you can't really take it out. It stays there. Okay, I don't have red here. I'm gonna do the blue again. And after you paint with it, try to press harder. It's the resistance between water and wax that creates this effect. I probably didn't press too hard on this, so it's kind of broken line, but you can actually press, with size of, like a normal pressure, and you'll see that you will have your negative shape with sticks and twigs like that. That's waxing. The other thing, the third thing, is these variety of sea sponges and wool. I don't know what is wool, what is sea sponge. I used to think that it's all sea sponge, but they have a different texture. Normal sponge, the manufactured sponge, have all the same texture. This one has a different texture. That's why artists use it to actually create some texture like this, over the paint or under the paint. It's up to you. You will dip it in a fairly wet paint, and then you can make some things there in your negative shape. And negative shape is the thing that you are actually working on mostly, firstly. And you can see, you can do it over or under. When it's the first thing you do, then you can actually do that. And then when it's dry, you can enhance it with, and then don't forget to wash your sponge. The sponge needs to be washed so somebody else can use it. Otherwise it turns like this. It's no good. So after this is dry, perhaps you can still paint and do some interesting stuff afterwards. And don't forget that your negative shape is the thing that you are